So we have a plan, right? And that plan is going to take some rainmaking. Or waiting. Wait for what? Law? I thought I got out of that. Now here's the fun part. Wade makes rain every day. So we've got folks who actually know how to rain, which is important because we're basing our whole rainmaking. So here's the good news. Here for the good news. I am a rainmaker. That's good news. I am a rainmaker. And I can teach it. I get paid to teach it, which is really important, right? Because some people can make rain and can't actually teach it. And the truth of the matter is that I can make rain, and my husband knows how to break down how I make rain, and that we can teach. Truth. I'm a rainmaker. My primary job as a rainmaker is to make it rain. My primary job as a rainmaker is not to eat what I kill. Because if I'm out eating what I kill, if I'm servicing every client that I bring in, do I have time to make more rain? No! Because I'm spending all my time servicing the clients that I have. Which means that my time to make rain is limited. The growth of my business is limited. And I'm only eating what I kill. Make sense? So my job as a rainmaker is to make rain and to make sure that I have people to service the rain that I make so that I can go out and make more rain. And that's how I grow a company that looks like this. Because if I'm the only one bringing in the rain, then I can only take care of so many folks who are servicing those clients, right? Right? So I can make enough rain to take care of me, but then I'm only taking care of me and I can't make more rain. I can make enough rain to take care of a group of people, but even my time is limited in making enough rain. And so the only way that I grow a business that's sustainable is if I teach some of those people to make rain. And the good news is that they don't actually have to know how to make rain on the first day. Thank God. They don't even have to know how to make rain on the 365th day. Amen, right? In fact, I don't want them to, because their job is to learn the skill to service the client. That's their first job. It is not to make rain. It is to learn the skill to service the client. Now, once they've got a baseline set of skills, it opens up some room for learning, right? Because now they've learned that piece. Once it's learned, once it's mastered, they don't have to learn it again. It opens up their room, it opens up space, it opens up their brain to learn something new. And I can start introducing concepts that lead to becoming a great rainmaker. And so over time, your servicing of client skills increases and your rainmaking skills increase, so that if you choose to be on the associate to partner path in our business, you ultimately become a great rainmaker for your team. Because it is so much easier to recruit people to a part-time opportunity when you can hand them the people to go see to build their skills and make some money. Infinitely easier. Make sense? Okay. Now my job as a rainmaker is to make sure that I make rain for my team. I want this to be very clear to the people in this room. Who's on our team? Everyone here's heard of the lineup? Yes. Are all of you somewhere on our lineup? Yes. All of you, RVPs included, are on our lineup. That means my ass is responsible for making rain for you, not just you. That means when Brett says we're going to work with you to leverage the possibilities that are in Selmar, that's my job as a successful, growing, learning SVP. That was kind of cool, right? And not to reference the old business too much, but that wasn't really the relationship in the business. That wasn't really my job. No. That's my job. That's our job. Because we don't want you to get to RVP and stop learning. We don't want anyone to get to RVP and just get better at what they've already done. We don't want glorified district meetings when you get to RVP. Because in the law firm, when you get to junior partner, you're not a glorified senior associate anymore. You have more responsibilities. You get to grow it as big as you want. And there's a reason that the junior partners make less money than the senior partners. As the senior partners are actually still responsible for working with the junior partners. The day someone makes RVP, they become a junior partner in our business. And now it's our job to sit down and say, okay, what are the set of skills that come with being a partner? And it's not shocking and scary because they've been hearing about it and learning pieces of it all the way through as an associate. And you get to know that when you're coming to an RVP meeting, you're growing new skills as a business owner. Because we want to never stop learning and growing. And this is a skill. Anyone who thinks grade making is not a skill, it's because they get validation from doing it better than other people. The only people I have met in my business and in any of the businesses that I've run who tell me the business development can't be taught, can't be learned, it is not based on a skill, are the people who value themselves as business developers and they don't want anyone else to think it can be taught or learned because then it makes them less valuable. Only people who have ever questioned what I do are the people who get paid a lot of money to do it. They don't want anyone else to do it. And the truth of the matter is, it's not necessarily a skill that everybody wants to learn. True, right? It's a skill for the partners. It's a skill for people on the partner track. And the good news is, it's really a skill that we all need in life no matter what we're doing, if we're going to move anywhere, right? It's the same skills that we taught David Camacho in order to get him to a manager at Best Buy. It's the same skills that Tony is using to be recognized at Google and flown up to San Francisco with an elite group of salespeople. It's the same skills. But as a partner, it takes on a different focus. And so what we're going to do over the next 6 months, 12 months, in the same way that we've done everything else, is we are going to build these skills. And we are going to work on and practice and tweak to the extent that you want to join us on this journey, the process for teaching these skills. And we are fully committed to my butt's getting licensed. Because I can't effectively make rain for our team if I'm not licensed and I can't openly talk about securities and 401ks. Because the 401k is our go-to-market strategy. Now, here's what's really fun. You don't actually need a 401k. You just need the possibility. You just need an owner to say, yeah, come in and do a financial wellness workshop for my people. Because if you have 30 people in a room that you bought pizza for, which will get them in that room, and nobody else is talking to them about their money, and you get to tout the owner for providing this benefit to them, and for the first time they learn 2 new things about money, and in the back of the room is a sign-up sheet for a free consultation with a financial advisor to do a financial needs analysis, what's the likelihood that 1 or 10 of those people are going to sign that sheet? Pretty likely. And how great is it to be able to tell folks, I need you because we're doing a workshop. And now you get to bring 3 of your folks to pass out the materials at the workshop. And now they're in the room. And they're building the relationships. And you're there with a team. And you don't even have them. The 401ks are going to come. We don't even need the 401ks to make it rain. Because we're not relying on 401ks for money. Or for anything for that matter. And what we know is 90% of our target, which is small to medium businesses, that nobody targets from the 401k perspective because there's no money, are not actually getting their employees serviced in any way, shape. How awesome is that? You know, I said to someone, basically think of me as the progressive auto insurance of 401ks. And they were like, what are you talking about? And I was like, progressive auto insurance changed the industry the day that they were willing to put comparative quotes on their website. The day that Progressive was willing to stand next to Geico and AAA and say, we're bringing you the value, whether or not we're right for you, was the day Progressive's website visits went through the roof. Because see, I can sit down with an owner and I can say, let me help you figure this out. Let me help you think about the differences between these. And I'm okay if I'm not the right provider for you. Because I don't actually care. Because I care about you. And nobody else is going to stand in front of you and do it. Nobody. See, because I care about you and I care about your employees, and we're going to provide a value-added service to your employees no matter who you choose. So what's the likelihood that there's this small potential, because the fees are a little bit lower, that they pick together a provider, but I become the trusted advisor? And I'm just giving them their options. And we have a competitive product, so we get to feel competitive. And you're going to learn all of this, and you're going to feel comfortable and confident, because this man is going to make sure that all of those folks are taken care of. Because we're not just putting our word behind it, we're putting our reputations, we're putting our money behind this plan. Because we know it's going to work. My husband likes inevitable results, which means we just keep going until we find the inevitable result. It's been fun. We've been testing it. It works. So part of you could sit there and be like, hey, yeah, so Sears says I'm going to have a 401k in January. There's no way I'm going out and telling a bunch of folks that, because if I don't have it in January, then I'm a liar, and I refuse to believe that. To put myself out there like that. What you can believe is that we will be on the track towards it, and you will have financial wellness workshops for people to go see, for people to see. Because who's going to come up here and talk about that? And people are lining up the door for those. So the 401ks are going to come. And the 401ks help us create stickiness. But you don't have to sit there and say, I'm waiting until Sears has proved to me that I have a 401k. Because if y'all wait for that, I want to make this very clear. If you wait for the day that we close the 401k of 69 people, we're screwed. You know why? If you wait to get people who are licensed until the day we close those 70 people, we're screwed. Why? No? Sue, you know why? If we wait till the day you close a 401k, if you wait to get people licensed.
Oh, so then you don't have any.
You don't have anyone to go date with you. And you know what you're going to spend the whole next 3 months doing? Servicing those 70 people. Which means you, my friend, are not increasing your skills to make it rain. Wait. So, there's a little bit of faith to it. But the faith is just not that far finished. Because we have one with lots of skills. It's like the most perfect one we could possibly have. There's like 10 mini ones. And we are a team, and we are locking arms as a team. And Sue's already got people lined up for financial wellness workshops, and she's been talking about it for a couple days or weeks. So we're going to build the strategies. We're going to have the people to see, and we get to increase our skills as rainmakers. And the truth of the matter is, just by telling people the skill that you're working on, people are going to want to learn. So that's the plan. Cool? And I was really excited. I mean, I said to Wade, I texted Wade, I was like, Wade, I want you to be here. Because Wade's a rainmaker. And this is about learning from each other. This is about leveraging each other's skills in the process. And we are putting everything else on hold to do this. And it also is an opportunity for us to prove out our rainmaking program with all of you. And so right now, I get paid somehow significant dollars by companies to teach people how to make rain. That's my job. When I looked at what I did best as a lawyer, it turned out that what I did best was making rain. Like not to sort of toot my own horn, but just to give you background of experience. Right? I was at a holiday party for my law firm, and it turned out that the husband of the head of HR in our office was an owner of a company that had been sold for multi-million dollars. Nobody knew. And he wasn't a client of the firm. How crazy is that? And I'm just naturally inquisitive. It's about learning how to be a good question asker. And in my head, I was like, so we should have lunch on Monday. And I had a partner sitting next to me, and he was like, how did you do that? And I said, what? Helping people never stops. It was at lunch on Monday, we said him on Wednesday. Because that's the thing about a rainmaker. You're always making rain. And making rain is just about talking to people, finding out what's going on in their lives, connecting and sharing. And the beauty about it is that once you get a couple raindrops, the sky just opens up. Because you get to tell other people about the raindrops. And my favorite line is going to be, I didn't know you did that. Oh yeah, we're happy to go in there. I didn't know you did that. Which is such an important line for folks like Adrian and Sue who've been doing this a long time, right? Because it feels like an uphill battle to change people's perceptions. But instead of focusing on changing their perceptions, if you just start telling stories, they're going to say, I didn't know you did that. And that's all we need. Yeah, I do that. Do you know anyone who needs that? No. Because I got a whole group of people. Right? And I was saying to Sue, you know, one of the challenges of rainmaking, and it's a challenge in our business and it's a challenge in every business, is you're operating from sort of two sides of the field. On the one hand, you're a recruiter, right? Trying to build up your team. And on the other hand, you're trying to bring in the business for your team to service. And it's a challenge for every lawyer. It's a challenge for every business consultant. And it's a challenge for us. The fun part is that when you become known in the community, bringing financial wellness and financial literacy to companies, helping employees, providing these 401ks, and someone introduces you to someone else, what's the likelihood that you can go back to that person and say, hey, you made this introduction, we're thriving, I need more people, who do you know? It's so much easier. And it doesn't have to get confusing in their heads. And you actually get to be proud of this. You know, and you get to benefit from my naivety. Like, I come from a world where being in financial services is freaking cool. Like, it's cool. And we can actually get back to that. Because it's cool to know shit that nobody else knows that can save them. It's cool to know investments. That's cool. This is not about being a life insurance agent. And we know life insurance is the basis of everything, and we're going to sell a whole bunch of policies because it's a freaking basis of everything. A protection. But we get to be about financial wellness and financial literacy and supporting the group of companies, not just the group of people. We've been supporting the group of Main Street people for a long time. So this is directly in alignment because now we're going out and supporting the group of Main Street companies that nobody's talking to. And I like supporting companies because it means we have lots of people to see. So this is not like, wait, what? Bait and switch, what? No, this is directly in alignment. Here's what we know. If we support the companies, we are going to support more of the people that we're trying to support overnight. Makes sense? And here's the deal. They're like, well, why you? Why should I talk to you and not to Charles Schwab? And you can say, I'll tell you why. Because I've been helping your people for the last 40 years. That's why. Because Charles Schwab is only showing up to help your people because they see it as a money opportunity And they don't understand your people. I do. America does. Nobody gets to say this except for us. Nobody. And you get to rattle off. Dude, we don't mistreat people like nobody else. And then you get to say the owner, and all the value is going to be attributed to you. So I'm going to give you all the credit. This is a benefit. We're going to talk about how other people pay $3,000 for this benefit. How all the rich people have someone that they can call when something happens in their life about their finances. And you are going to pin it to them as a benefit business owner. So that. And we have the systems in place to protect you, to make sure you're compliant, to make sure you've got your fiduciary duties covered. Because we're professionals. You're like, okay, I'm in. And now you've got your people. This is my favorite part. And then we'll get back to it. So now you got your people. Now you've got your 4 people. And you've got your people, right? You're licensed people, you've got your people. And we're teaching people how to build relationships with these employees over time. Because in this day and age, you know what happens almost all the time to employees of one company? You know what they do? They leave. They leave every 3 friggin' years. And every time they leave, do you know what's going to happen? Do you know what the first call is going to be when they leave? It's going to be you. It's going to be your person on the team who developed that relationship. And they leave for one of 2 reasons. They leave because it's the best time in their life and they got a new job that's better, or they leave because it's the worst time in their life and they just got laid off. And either way, you and your team are going to be the first to call. You and your team are going to be there to celebrate and say, now that you've got this new job, now that you've got this new income, let's get back together. Let's bring up that financial needs analysis today. Let's make sure that you're saving the right way that you're saving. Because what most people do is they get the new job and they spend all the money, and now they're doing nothing again, and we don't want that for you. Or it's the worst time. And let's get together and let's make sure that your family's protected appropriately because I'm here for you. We're going to roll over that 401k into the managed account, and I'm your advisor for life. We're not just handing folks to put skills on, which is part of it. We're handing folks to build skills and relationships and clients for life. With the back office to support it. So that when it's business plan associate, and that business plan associate goes off to do what they're going to do, you're not freaked out that they're leaving. You don't try to keep them here because you know it's all being connected to access support. And you can immediately pick up when that business plan partner left. And that business plan partner gets to call and proudly say, I'm going to work on this business plan idea right now, and I've got a fabulous colleague who's going to step in my place, and I'm so excited to introduce you to them. And someone from agency gets on the phone and says, hey, you know, Tom told me that, you know, you're a huge Rams fan. How about that game? I'm going to make the switch. I'll never lose life. That's the system we're talking about. That's a system that you can be excited about bringing other people into. Say one time a minute. We're excited. You're so excited. We're putting your hands aside to do this. Okay, so now we get the next half hour or so to start talking about how do we go about this. Because there are a lot of skills that we're going to build in this process. One of them is planning. We're going to get incredibly good at planning. in our process. Directional planning, strategic planning, and tactical planning. We're going to be incredibly good at getting wide on each of those levels. Why? Because that's the only way to hit the target. We've got to know what we're aiming at, and that applies to rainmaking. Nobody just goes out there willy-nilly. We need to pull to us. We set goals, 5 401ks. I don't know if we're going to hit it, but I know that it means that I'm going to do everything in my power to set myself up, to set the right strategic objectives, to take the right tactical planning, to move towards that goal. So that if I don't hit it in January, I sure as hell am going to hit it by April. But if I never decide what the goal is, then I'm making plans and decisions without a clear direction. Make sense? Okay. So we are going to learn planning. We are going to get really good at meeting people and getting to know people and building relationships with people. Because there's only so many people already in our market. Now, this doesn't mean, unless you really, really want to, going out to Target or Starbucks and go prospecting. But this is about saying, how do we, from a truly planned perspective, build out our network? What are the alliances that we form? How do we even learn to know the word alliance and what an alliance would look like? These are the things that we get to learn in here. And what I know is that just like our part-timers are going to apply it in their life, you're going to be applying this in your life. You're going to teach it to your kids. You're going to use it in Swaptimist. Whatever you do, it's going to make it better. Because our job is to leave everybody better than they walked in the door. Cool?
Yes.
Okay. So, when we think about planning, I'm just going to sort of do one piece of this. And then we're actually going to start the process. So those of you who want to continue this process, we will be getting back together and we'll be doing more meetings to build this out because it takes a long time. Okay. So in here we talk about directional, we talk about strategic, and we talk about tactical planning. Yes? And right now, I'm just going to put for my directional, right, I've got the 5 401ks. But you might decide that your goal is 1 financial wellness seminar, right? Whatever the goal is, we know that we are all moving towards this as a concept. Okay? And I'm going to have Sue, once I do this first part, come up and talk a little bit more about how we're approaching this. And then Brett's going to pull up some laptops and show you the sites so that we'll give you some homework to do. I love homework, right? And then you'll be able to come back and do a lot of what we were going to do in here. But I really wanted to paint the picture. I feel like I can't paint the picture while you're alone. You can do the tactical planning. We're talking about the activities on your own, and then you can report back. So 5 401ks, financial wellness, we're all moving towards this direction, right? Main Street corporate America. That's what we're going to do. Someone's got one, it might as well be us. Right? Right. Okay, so what are the strategies if we're actually going to be able to accomplish this? One of the strategies is what's your story? We're not going to address that tonight, right? Know your story. What's your story? Strategic objective of being able to tell your story. We're going to address that in another meeting. Okay? The next question is who? Right? Who are your people? And the question becomes, we get wide on it. Who do you have and who do you need? This is about looking at your current network and saying, who do you have that you can start having these conversations with? And how many people do you need? Maybe you actually only have 1 person in your network and you need a whole lot. And then we get why on who we need. And the way that we develop the plan, and what we're going to start thinking about is who are the groups of people that you can start to develop relationships with. Knowing that you're going to turn them into baselines. You're going to turn them into conversations about what you're doing. So let me give you an example of what mine looks like. Okay. So the first thing I said was, okay, I need to meet more people. I didn't have enough in my have. I needed groups of people. And so I said, okay, what are affiliations that I have where I can build out my relationships? And the first one that came to mind for me was UCLA. So I went to UCLA, and UCLA has a professionals group. And I was like, okay, I can get involved in the UCLA Women's Professional. Now, I haven't been involved yet, but the moment that I get involved, I will then identify who do I kind of connect with specially that I'm going to move towards my scout team, right? And then we get into what we already know how to do, assessing the relationship, moving the relationship, doing your IMIC, and each one of these. But that's a group. Now, the first thing that I realized when I went to UCLA Bruins Pro was that I didn't actually know anyone. And I didn't know who went to UCLA in this area because I'm really trying to build out my relationships locally because I don't want to travel too far with the babies. And I know there's a lot of people that I haven't met. And so the very first thing that I did is I called the alumni department to find out if they could give me emails, addresses, and information, which of course they couldn't. I can't. But I didn't stop there. I didn't take no and just stop. So I was like, okay, so what's another way that I can do that? Well, one way that I can do it is I can actually start a chapter of the alumni here, which is interesting. But they still won't give me the email addresses. They'll only market the chapter once I have at least 10 people that I can name who will be in it. I mean, really? So I went to my all favorite LinkedIn. LinkedIn is going to become your best friend as a remaker. And when we're done with this meeting, I'm going to send out an article to this group on the steps to building up your LinkedIn footprint. It's a great article. One of the things you need to do is look at your own profile and see what it says, because that has an impact on people finding you and accepting your requests. The second thing that you really are going to want to do is say, let me look at the people that are on LinkedIn that I actually know that I'm not connected to because I never paid attention to this before as a rainmaker because it didn't make any sense for me to pay attention to it before in America, right? In fact, I was like the anti-LinkedIn. Now I'm going to become the LinkedIn expert. And the reason I'm going to become the LinkedIn expert is because I did a search for UCLA Santa Clarita. And I found 5 people. And 2 of them I couldn't send an email to. One of them was connected to somebody that I already knew. So I asked for an introduction. And 2 of them I sent LinkedIn requests to, and I said, hey, I'm a UCLA alumni in the area. I'm looking to build new relationships. Would you be open to connecting? And so far, one of the 2 have connected. She happens to be the head of HR for a company. Ding. Ding. I got like 2 points on that one. But for me, it was saying, how do I start to get connected to more people? Right? So UCLA was one of them. There's a lot of networking, right? So I looked at, okay, what's my kind of community networking? Yeah. And this works particularly, right, for you and Silmar, folks in other areas. You know, is there a Better Business Bureau, right? Is there a small business group that's great for me to become part of? We've got a group out here called VIA that's part of all of the corporations. And I was like, okay, what are the other groups where I'm going to find, remember I'm targeting this, where I'm going to find business owners or people who know business owners. Because that's how I'm going to start to talk about what I'm doing and develop those relationships. And then I started to say, okay, what are other community affiliations? You know, I talked to someone who said, yeah, I don't belong to a gym. I just work out at home. Well, we've traditionally worked out here, but I can't meet people working out here. The gym is a great place to meet people, right? So I was like, okay, which gym would people be more likely to go to? And I started asking around, like, what's the gym that people go to, right? And so I'm gonna join a gym, right? And then a bunch of folks, like the big thing around here is workout challenges, boot camps, and people become like super close in these boot camps. So I was like, okay, now here's something really interesting. Ready? Their boot camps are at all times of the day. So which boot camp, what time do you think is the boot camp that I need to go to? Yep, 5 a.m. 5 a.m. and 6 a.m. It doesn't serve me to go to the 10 a.m. boot camp. Now, it serves me to go to the 10 a.m. boot camp if I want to meet moms, and through the moms, I'm going to meet other people. But that's a decision for me to make. Because most people would just be like, oh, I'm going to sign up for the boot camp that's convenient for me. But I talked to one of the gym owners, and all of the male business owners go at 5 a.m. So interesting, right? Not to mention that as a woman, I guess, I know, because I'll be a woman. Always an interesting thing. You use what you got. And then religious affiliation. For me, it's temple. Okay, there are 2 major temples in the area. We're a family with twins. We're going to go to preschool. We're the hottest commodity since Moses. Everybody wants to talk to us. Now, I could just go to one, or I could recognize this as an opportunity for meeting people. And I can go to both of them. And I can go look at the preschools and get to know the directors. And I can say, I'd really like to talk to 3 or 4 families to hear about their experiences. Because now I'm connecting and I haven't even signed up for anything. As a friend, I'm like, we're going to go to one preschool, we're going to join the other one. Right? Yeah, and I like people. You have to like people. Or at least your spouse has to like people. You not both of you. Right? But you guys already started doing this. Right? Where are places that you can start to meet people and the right kind of people? Right? The business owners, the people who know business owners. And sometimes it might be that maybe the business owners are hanging out at the senior level something, and you're building your skills, and so you're going to start at the junior level something. It doesn't mean that you've got to go right to the business owners. Maybe you're not ready to talk to the business owners. But here's what we know. And here's what was such one of the most valuable lessons I learned when I started doing this on my own. When I went into the law practice, and the day I started, because I had been in business development for 2 years before I went to law school, the day I started, I was like, okay, what's my business development? And I become a partner, right? The day I started. And I knew that I had become a really good lawyer, because you have to be good at what you do. No one can come into our business, and here's a really important thing, which is so different from previous America. You cannot be a great rainmaker if you have no clue what you're talking about. You can't. Your reputation will kill you. So now, everybody in this room will be, really engaging in skill development, because we're learning the 401k language at the same time as everything else. And folks who are brought up through this will have had a little bit more exposure over a period of time. So we're going to push ourselves a little bit more. And I'm pushing myself right with you. Brett's pushing himself right with you. None of us are walking in here as experts in financial wellness or 401ks. We're learning, and we're growing, and we're challenging ourselves. I walked in the door, and there was no way that the CEO of a major company was going to talk to a first-year associate at a law firm, no matter how great the law firm was. And there was no way that the venture capital partner was going to talk to an associate. But here's what I knew. I was going to be a partner in 7 years, which meant I was going to be a lawyer in 2 years, and in 3 years, and 4 years, and 5 years. And if you're an RVP and you want to do this business, will you be in business 3 years from now? Absolutely. And you'll be in business 5 years from now. And I don't know when the relationship is going to show up. I don't know when the right referral is going to show up with some 10 schools, but I know it's going to. And so I went out to build relationships, not to get a 401k referral today, but to set a plan in motion to get a 401k referral for 2018. And so if it's about talking to the people who are in HR and learning how to talk to the head of HR, that's part of the rainmaking process. And so you might say to yourself, okay, eventually I want this relationship, but I'm going to take a step back and say, what's the relationship that I'm going to build directly first? How am I going to grow my relationship building skills? Because I'll tell you what, the person who is the second person to the person who's the head of HR is either going to become the head of HR in the next 5 years, or they're going to leave. They're going to go to a different company to become the head of HR, and you will be their best friend. And in fact, a lot of times, they're the better relationship. Because the head of HR usually already has their relationships. So a lot of times, I'll look at who's the HR manager. I'm going to build a relationship with the HR manager because that person is going to teach me everything I need to know about talking to the head of HR. And HR people know each other, like people know each other. So that's going to be part of the process. So I have UCLA, I have my community, I have my gym, I have my temple, and then I have what I call alliances. And we're going to get to it. Alliances for me are like my favorite. And Wade will also be really helpful at teaching building alliances. Alliances are about saying, who are the groups of people who service the same people we want to help? Who do we have complementary products to? Right? So for example, an accounting firm, a local accounting firm that works with small to medium-sized businesses doesn't sell 401ks. And they probably don't do financial wellness seminars. But they'd love to partner with you on it because they get the credit. And then they open up their entire book to you. Now, you're not going to form that relationship day one. But I'll tell you, Sue's got a bunch of those. So you start to say, who are the kinds of people I want to build relationships with? Maybe accountants are the thing that you want to build alliances with, and so you start to learn how to build relationships with accountants. Right? And this will be individual in a lot of ways. What is interesting to you? What excites you? What makes sense in your area? You know, I don't know what other services small to medium businesses are getting on the Silmar. Maybe they're getting really great cleaning services. You know? Who knows? Maybe they're great electricians that are servicing these businesses and you can form alliances. Now, we can't pay anybody, so we're here for a referral, but when you form an alliance, right, it's going to be a supportive relationship. And that's my Surgeon General. It's about being a supportive relationship. Yeah? So, the homework, like I said, Sue's going to talk for just a couple minutes about financial wellness. Brett's going to come up and show where we can find the information, and then we're all going to meet individually in this group. The homework is for you to think about who are the people you have and who are the people you need. are the groups that you want to start building out in your life? That's the first piece. The second piece is building up your LinkedIn profile. Start connecting with people. I guarantee you have at least 100 people that you can connect to on LinkedIn that you haven't yet, unless you've been leveraging LinkedIn. You would be surprised who's out there. Like church people, all kinds of people are on LinkedIn. And you know what else? It's a culture to accept connections. Very rarely will someone not accept your connection on LinkedIn. And so you can just connect. You know? So you're interested in this, I am too. Connect. And then we'll look at those connections and develop a plan for building the skill. Not forgetting the 401k, not forgetting the financial wellness plan or seminar, but for building the skills towards it. That's step one. We are rainmakers. Everyone in this room will be rainmakers. It is our job as rainmakers of this team to support you so that you can comfortably go out and get folks that we can have licensed because we need it. Because this is happening. This train has left the station. And I want you all on board. And we are doing it with or without you. And I would really rather do it with you. And I want you to feel good about it. Because we clearly do, because we've started the recruiting process. And I will tell you, if we wouldn't put our reputations on, he might. I definitely. Okay? So we'll get into questions, we'll get into more details. I mean, we spent hours last night on the website. It is fascinating what's out there, right? And we're going to build the skill so that when you do get in front of a business owner that's got 3 red flags, you're going to feel comfortable and confident in what you're saying and in what we can offer and in the support that's there to back it up. Because we are going to lead with emotion and support. Yeah? Okay. So, come on. Yeah, so just share.
I will. You know what? I want to go back for 1 second. On LinkedIn, you guys, when you're doing your profiles and stuff, please run a live rev before you post them. I've had one person in my business that got shut down. I mean, not shut out of the business, but they asked her to take a bunch of stuff down certain things. So there's complaints, things like this.
So we'll thank you. That's a great point. So we'll run through that.
And it's not a lot of stuff. There's just a couple little things that we can't.
No, it's great.
That's great. So, financial wellness workshops. It's interesting because a couple of years ago, I did a financial wellness workshop and organized for the County of Los Angeles for Insurance Services. And it went extremely well. I have to tell you that everybody that was there absolutely loved it. You couldn't shut them up afterwards. They were asking questions. So that's just where a financial workshop leads us. But to back up for a second here, back a few weeks ago, I hadn't done any for a while. And I went to Brett and I said, you know, I have this idea. And I started thinking about it, about the community, because I've been in the community. And I said, I have this idea on how I think we can possibly get into financial wellness workshops, wherever we're going with this. And I said, I want to be able to give back to the community. What if I went to the business owners in the community and organizations and people like that and said that I want to make this, I want to start making this the most financially literate community in America. And if we pulled in all the business owners into this and all the organizations into this, they could get excited about doing something because you guys know this community. And Adrian, you know your community. what they would do and what they wouldn't do. This community, anytime you bring something like that up, gets crazy over it because it's already one of the best places to live, best places to retire. They like that kind of stuff, and they love giving back. So I talked to Brett about it. We talked about it for a few minutes. Talked about how it was doing things. And then over the next couple of weeks, I started to kind of put the feelers out there and started mentioning it to people. That's happens with every single business owner that I've mentioned to. And it's not just small business owners. I got some large ones in this too. I've got some community servants and things like that in this that I've mentioned it to. Loved the idea. Everybody. I went to one of the vice principals of one of the high schools. Loved the idea. Came up with ideas to get us over into COC and maybe have some things there, stuff like that. So this whole thing, whether or not you're inside of one particular business or whatever business that you're inside of, is just going to carry forward. And the whole idea behind it, I was thinking about it before, is this is enough. This is a way to create that relationship with the business, to be able to bring our folks in and help train, like we've been talking about, to be able to, one of the things I kind of like the best, I fell upon it by accident, I was actually, this stuff is one of the things that Primerica has actually said, is they give 3 reasons for the business owners on the financial wellness workshops. Their benefit of it, the employees benefit, bringing things and stuff. But also the idea of being able to assign an independent rep to each of them. And I'm thinking, oh my God, I just said that. Because that just takes it to exactly what we're doing. Because if I'm an employee and I'm hearing that, you're going to be able to give me my own personal rep. So, and that's not just the financial wellness workshops or the 401ks. So that's kind of where we've been taking it, and I just wanted to a lot of people. It's just great. Thank you.
So, and so part of this is, again, on one end, it's like, oh shoot, there's a whole bunch of stuff, but we're just going to tackle what's next, right? Like, it really is. But it really is this kind of, okay, how do we tackle this, what's next? And from a recruiting standpoint, as we'll get to, like, the conversation works, right? It really is this genuine, right? I know, there's a handful of folks that you're talking about. I met with a lady that I've been talking with for a long time who kind of got, and just kind of laid it out and said, Patty, what do you think? She's like, all right, let's go. Like, the biggest, when we acknowledge the 3 things that someone really needs, right? They need their licenses, they need their skills, and they need people to see, and we put the solution for those 3. It really takes the, oh, you're trying to get me in, you want my people, completely and totally off of the table, right? We're going to get their people because once they have a clearer understanding of what's going on, it's a natural conversation, but the growth of the process is there. So, and the biggest thing that I can tell, is that this isn't, I'm sitting in the back of the room and I'm listening to Robin, and I've been watching her with her shift clients and some different things. This isn't, we're not trying to figure this stuff out. How to build these groups and this program and what's going on. She's been doing this for years. And so we have such an advantage, and we're going to be able to, in the beginning, we have someone with a tremendous talent that we're going to teach how to convert to skill, that ultimately not only will everyone here learn the business development process, which is really the rainmaking, right? It's the ability to grow this business development, but it's what are the skills, how do we teach it so that it can go anywhere across. For us, we're prototyping the expansion plan. Like, we're all kind of starting. If we all moved to this community, how do we grow? Like, what is the mindset of, right, when something goes? So, hopefully it's not safe. All right. So, the site that everyone can go to is, and this is free, it's called freearisa.benefitspro.com. Okay. No, well, you can't. We're running out of time, so we're going to be good. Right? But when you go home, you can go through and just freearisa.benefits.com. Type it up, goes through, and then you can sign in. It's free to join the basic one. And literally, all I did, I'm going to walk you through a couple of these, but it's worth a couple hours to go through. Like, as I go through this, like, what's that? Oh, it's everything. It's ridiculous. So this is Santa Clarita. There's 643 that are, like, and it's.
That's just Valencia, right? That is in North Santa Clarita.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. Like, but it's within 5 miles. That's what I said. It's within 5 miles of this, right? And so, but you can search by exact, and look, Sunkiss, $45 million. This is public domain. They have to update, and I'm going to walk you through some of these. So we're probably not going to start with the 22 million, right? But there's all sorts of things that as we start playing with this, right? So we start going, look, 73 employees. Watch this. 73 employees, $34,500. Does that sound right? No, it sounds like there's a problem. So what happens is we go over and we click on King's Brothers Industries. What is King's Brothers Industries? I have absolutely no idea. And there are more of these tools. We're going to meet with, right? We're gonna like, this is the free one. I know Sue will talk about there's folks. We're going to meet with, and as this is loading, because it's taking a second, I want you to make sure that this is really. Primerica doesn't have a 401k. We're not going to be marketing Primerica's 401k. We're going to be marketing Voya, which is on the little squirrel commercials. All the other. If a client's got over 750, closer to 1.2 million is better. But if there's over $1 million in assets, the 401k we're using is Fidelity, the #1 401k in the country. We get, and it's just Primerica, Fidelity, boom, together. So we've got Voya, we've got American Funds, we've got AXA, we can go into communities. Like, we've got access to the tools that are necessary. So it's not Primerica and our funky little, like, who are you? We're walking in as an employee, as a rep, and if we've got a Fidelity investment 401k, we're walking in and sitting down representing Fidelity in relation with Primerica. You understand the credibility and the relationship that we've got? They're not thinking, oh God, what are you? You're one of those things. See, part of what this is that we wanted to go from life insurance to entrepreneur. And so when we recruit new people and we talk about this entrepreneurial training camp, people who have this, wait, you work at Best Buy. Now you're not, that gap is too wide. But we can go from life insurance to 401k. Now all of a sudden they're like, wait, you do what? And it's linked with, there's a credibility piece that's different, right? If I walk into a relationship with someone and I'm like, oh, I'm getting ready to go on appointment, I'm doing this, and their mental picture of how many of us have had new people and their friends are like, oh, you're going to sell some insurance, right? There's a psychological impact of where that is. The ability for them to be like, no, we're setting up a 401k instantly shifts them from life insurance to the credibility in financial services to the, wait, you're setting up a 401k. It's a complete shift in the mindset of what their peers start talking about. Now it's, no, dude, he helps people with their money. It's a completely different level we can attract. And we've got the companies in place that do all the work. Now, let me rephrase this correctly. They do all the work except the work that's really important to the employees, and no one does that. Sue and Oscar called Primerica and said, okay, we're going to learn this system. Like, what do we need to do to make sure that we fully support this? Primerica's answer was, fill out the BD 31. What else? What do you mean? Fill out the form. They've spent a combined 50 hours trying to build the system, and we're probably halfway done of knowing what's got to get done. And Primerica's answer was, fill out the BD 31. I have a 401k that is completely out of like sorts. Like, we're not completely out of sorts, but we're actually pretty out of sorts. Like, it's compliant, but like, we haven't done all the support that we needed. We don't have they don't have their fiduciary review in place. We did it. Now, luckily it's 2 years and we're just at the 2 years, so we're fine. Like, we're within our window, but there's lots of things. The lawyer in here is like, why are you saying this? Because this is important. This isn't about, I'm pretty aggressive on this shit, and I'm married to someone who's incredibly aggressive on this stuff. And we've had people work and develop, and we are out of sorts. We get to make sure that our clients are protected. I called the client and said, we're doing your fiduciary review. We're going to give you the compliance resources. We're going to give you the comparisons. And they're like, huh? They have no idea what any of that stuff is. If I'm not calling them, telling them that, they're not doing it. Well, guess what? Boya has protected me. The BD 31 has protected me. If the Department of Labor goes in and looks at their 401k, I'm not exposed. They are. Primerica's made sure that I have no liability, but I haven't made sure that they have no liability, because Primerica's job is to protect Primerica. And Primerica's protecting Primerica by protecting me, by saying we did what we're supposed to do. You're the responsible. Well, we still get Primerica to do the support, but now we actually get to deliver what no one else is going to do. So, okay, so this plan is inactive, right? So now all of a sudden, here's someone that did a 401k in 2002, 2003. They have 74 employees, and it's inactive. So now the conversation is, are they in business? Are they not in business? Right? Who are they? Did they get bought out, or what's going on? Did they start a 401k, and because of the numbers, they went, no one's doing this? Right? The average contributor, $64. No one wants this. Why? Because the guy that did the investments only dealt with the owners and didn't want to go through. So here's a group of people that desperately wants a 401k, wants it, but they need the support and the resources. Like, we can figure that out, and there's a way to then go through, right? So we can look at all of these different things to kind of figure out what's going on.
So you got a list of a group of these, you Google them, you see who you know, looks at the company, and you see who's that. So someone who's had a 401k once is much easier to get a 401k again. So you know the value of it.
Because Intercoast had one.
Yep.
That's a true story.
Literally-
Intercoast had one. They had it for a year. They didn't satisfy their top-heavy testing because the reps didn't want to go in and develop the relationships. They didn't know how to explain it, so they had a compliance issue with the scenario. And so it pissed off their top-heavy, their top-level employees. And so they said, screw it, this isn't working. Fast forward 5 or 6 or 7 years later, we come in. This year, they had a top-heavy issue. They were out of compliance. Their top 2 employees had to get money back. Same thing happened, but I had a relationship with them and a relationship with the employees. We handled both, and they're like, oh, great. Because of what's going on. So they had one, but they didn't think they could. So check this out. So here, Lancaster Pioneer Motors. No idea. They started this 2013, 2014. The plan has decreased by $298,000. What happened? The market's been up. People left. Right? Over that period of time, right? Same thing. So they've got 60 employees, $114,000 in the assets, 2 red flags and 4. You have to pay the $750 a month. Right? Yeah. Yeah, they turned this into a business, right? So there's all sorts of stuff. So as things grow, there's different resources we've got. But now all of a sudden, so here's what we would do. So let me go through. So here's what we did last night. First, let's put the lump. Go Creekside Road.
Probably.
So we go through and find out, are they in business still? Right? What's going on with the different pieces with that? And then go on LinkedIn, put it into the search, and find out, is there anyone we know? Right? So the reason why Robin talked about growth, you want to build your LinkedIn profile. Pull up your clients. For those of you that are RVPs, pull up your clients. Pull up the SSD. Pull it up and link in anyone you can.
And link to all of us because we know people that you might not be linked to.
Correct. And so what happens then is, as we look at these different things, now all of a sudden, I don't know if they're this way, so okay, right? But they must be because they still have a 401k, right? They've got a phone number, so we've got their address and their phone number. So it's the new car dealers, right? So what is this? So now all of a sudden, though, this could be the pastor's brother that owns this. Now all of a sudden you're on LinkedIn and the pastor's brother-in-law, and all of a sudden, so it's not about, hey, I'm Adrian Zamora, I'd like to help you with your money. But here's what we know. They don't have a financial wellness game plan. This tells all of us that the only thing that's interesting is that the people had cash that they wanted money from the owners. Because that's a physically impossible set of circumstances. 60 people with 100 grand. It's been around for 2 years. And so, and we're gonna figure out, like, again, we're figuring out all of these tools, like we're
2013. So
And
people
maybe-
left and they didn't actually bring in new people. And no one actually ever changed their contribution levels as they stayed in the company. Because no one ever met with anybody again.
It won't, and that happens over.
Right. Right.
And I think the reason I said is when they actually start assessing on there, is you know when that's. I know sometimes sure somebody was, sometimes should have gone in there.
Well, and that's where Brett was going to go, right? So now you know that they're due for an audit. You know that they have no financial numbers.
The plan started in 2002. Phone number, EIN number, all of it, right? You can look at this number of participants at the beginning of the year, right? Are there assets, right? What's going on? Where's the money gone? How people pulled out? All that, $413 went to fees, right? We've got all sorts of scenarios that we've got. Like this is, it's all there. They have to by law. And so one of the really important things, and one of the things that Robin said, is maybe we lose it because they've got a fund, one with a little bit lower fees. That'll never happen. Ever. And there's a reason that'll never happen. Do you know who chooses what the fee structure for our compensation is? Do you know who makes that choice as to how much money you're going to get paid inside the 401k? You. So you could say the average is somewhere between 1 point and a half a point, kind of in the frame, right, in terms of what's going on. 75%, 75 basis points is kind of the average, but you go through there. But if they've got 68 employees and someone's got a dirt cheap 401k, would you do it for 25 basis points? Hell yeah, if you've got 6 people on your team that you want to train. Because the difference is the difference between $60 a month and $80 a month. Are you going to let $20, $30, $40, $50 be the reason that you don't take your 5 guys and go train and develop the relationships in terms of what's going on? We don't need it as a compensation drive. Do we want to make copies? Of course. If we can do it, we're going to price ourselves within the structure. But if we're talking to somebody and we're going through and we know, and they give us reports and we know what's going on and we can compare apples to apples, we're like, look, I would normally charge 75 basis points, but I want to make sure that you have access to tools. We'll do it for 25 basis points. I'm going to make almost no money on this, but we're going to make sure that your people have access to the tools. Right? You can. If you're going to do it for free, if you're going to do the financial wellness for free, you can do it for 25 basis points or 50 basis points, and you're still in alignment. So we have a cheap plan, an expensive plan, we have an appropriate plan. Like, we've got access to all of the tools that we need. And we get to control the comp. So, right, so, Adrian, 91322. 143, right? There's 20. There's a company, Anders International, 20,000 people, right? All sorts of stuff, all the way down. We start looking at, and it's about playing around with this thing. It's about spending a couple hours and going through, and we're going to learn more system. We're going to meet with. We've got the guy coming from Fidelity. We got the guy coming, guy or gal coming. We're going to meet with the forwarder wholesalers and have them come out, and the RVPs will say, look, go to lunch, let's figure this out. Like, this is worth us growing and getting significantly better at. I don't want to be I don't want to be a 401k expert for the sake of doing 401ks. 401ks are not our business. Our business is training and developing associates. We are in the distribution solution business, and our unfair distribution advantage is we can take one person with us on an appointment and they can get exposed to tremendous skills, they can develop relationships, and because of our baseline approach, a year from now we could have 100 people with 30 to 50 great relationships that have a very clear picture of what we're doing and the problem we're trying to solve, and allows them to enlist them in, and now there's an opportunity to contribute to growth. Everything we've done is built to be built on top of itself. And so we get to get good at the business development side. That's different than anything in Primerica. There's not another Primerica office in the world that's going to get the leadership team really good at being business developers like the rest of the world. The rest of the world, right? One of the companies Robin works for is in high-end furniture. And you know what it talks about? Who are your groups? Who are your lists? Where's your alignments? What are the conversations? How do you develop? Right? One of the guys just is working with Amazon now, out of a relationship to link through this process. Right? This is a tool we're going to have. Is it our only mode of methodology? No. Are we going to become the financial services gurus of gurus? No, we're going to get really good at 401ks because we're building the infrastructure. And our new people are going to come and we're going to build every step. And so the people if you guys see this and you're like, I want to be, so we're done. There's two choices. None of you are quitting, so that's not really a choice. You know, and Rob's like, we're doing this with or without you. No, we're going to construct it with or without you. We're going to build the systems, structures, tools, and organization and implementation. Whether you say, I'm willing to contribute, I'm willing to help, I'm willing to be a part of the growth, I'm willing to pay some of the price of time and effort and energy, and I'm going to flush out some of this stuff, or call me when it's done. And if you choose the call me when it's done, great. We're going to build it out. And if you say, I can help 10%, great. If you say, I'm in and I want to be part, great. The more of us that the more people that are willing to engage in this, that we can direct and deliver and develop, the faster and stronger the support systems we build. That's just the reality. But we are going to build this go-to-market strategy the same way and to the same depth that we built the licensing structure, the skills structure, the entrepreneurial sustainability plan, access support, every other tool, so that we've got a straight line through. And so that's where we are with this. And the reason we wanted to have this meeting is, one, there's a new time. We are not in the, okay, we're going to be successful 2 years from now. We know what we're doing. We know that we're going to do it, and we are going to spend the next 3, 6, 12 months getting really, really good at developing these structures and plans. And as many people as can help us be a part of this thing, the faster and better. Here's one of my homework assignments. Go on, do this. Click on this thing. Kind of go set your LinkedIn. Here's the next thing. Who are the 5 people that you can think of that if you knew you could give them 5 appointments a month starting in 6 months, that you would want in business with you? Why would you want them in business with you? What are the reasons that they came to your mind? Over the next little bit, let's talk about that. I will meet with any of them. We will start this process. We will put everyone through this. The conversation works. The recruiting game is started, right? I've already had a couple. I got like 6 appointments next week where I was like, shit. Like, she's got to put, like, we're on this thing, right? December 7th, the first meeting. There's going to be a new Austin. Like, this is our time to put people in the room and say, because January is coming. And guys, the reality is, we don't need 50 401ks to get 30 to 40 or 50 people excited about this. We need movement. And we already have movement. And if we lock arms, we're going to have a little bit more movement. And if over the next 6 months we don't get another 401k, but all of a sudden we've got 5 people that we've linked with and we're moving the relationships with, that's movement. And that gives us the ability to have people go, man, I'm starting to see, and we get to move this flywheel. And so you and I get to lean into, we've got to get you through this licensing process because the timing is coming, because we've got smart, focused, committed people that are actually really good at business development on this thing. We've got an unfair advantage and we have the systems in place. And so it's simply inevitable. And when you come from that place, imagine those 5 people on your team. Just getting licensed. Are they coming to every meeting? No. But you know what happens when they're in the licensing process and all of a sudden they start, so what else do you do? And the moment they ask the what else are we doing, and we go through the access gap conversation and they run an F&A on themselves and it becomes a little bit more real. And then they get licensed and we're like, look, why don't we put the 10 most important people in your corner, because that way they understand why you're doing this, and we take them out and we just go tell our story and we get them in their corner and maybe they help a couple families, who knows, maybe they're, and now all of a sudden there's momentum. Because that gets to be our distinguisher. So we're going to meet probably every couple weeks and kind of explain where things are and have different people present and be able to be a part for the people who want to participate in this. But we are going to, the next 6 months is going to be about getting this shit dialed in and movement happening. So the other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to set up a Marco Polo group for this group. Right? And so it's the video conferencing app, right? In terms of that. And so as you go on this stuff, if you run in and you start realizing that, right, if Adrian, if you pull this up, the next thing you know that one of the deacons of your church is one of the owners of this thing, you're like, holy shit, I didn't even know, and you found it. I'm going to ask that you jump on that and you tell the story to the group of people in this room. And Wade does it, and Sue, and it's an opportunity for us to share this group. To learn from, to celebrate from, to be excited about, to be able to see what's going on, right? Because we have a validating cycle business. You don't have to have it work for you to be able to get the strength that it works. You don't have 5 accounting associate relationships that Sue has. But Sue's developed those relationships on purpose. And so since she's developed those relationships on purpose, you get to celebrate those relationships and go, she did it on purpose, so do I. Right. You might not know the deacon of the church that goes through, but if you've got those relationships, they're inevitable. And when we see that strength, we get to flywheel it that way. So Because remember, it's all about.
Exercise.
You get shit done.
That's cool. That's great.
Right, so someone like that, like I don't expect them to go, hey, and it's perfect, right? So you start developing that relationship with someone like that, I would